Before time immortal, the dark and stormy nights arose from creation's primordial nectar. Brought to this world as both muse and master to deliver mortals from misery and the mundane. Welcome, lords and ladies. It's the dark and stormy nights.
Ladies and gentlemen, much to your chagrin, we are back. It's the Dark and Stormy Nights, and this is Loki.
I'm Tyr.
Odin.
And you're welcome.
For
We're doing a planning episode this week. We're going to plan the next few chapters, so it should be fairly fun. A lot of us calling each other names and arguing. So we have to figure out where... Do I sound weird?
Sounds fun here.
it's a little late to figure that out.
I guess it is, right?
Now you're loud.
Is my voice sultry enough? Here we go.
Can you do that with the machine?
There we go. How's that? Is that a
I
little
mean,
better?
It's bad enough you subject the audience to our content.
Is that a little better?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Wrap it up.
do you want some ASMR?
What?
You know, when you whisper in the microphone to get people aroused?
I know, it
Is that
sounded
a
like
thing?
you said something totally else, but he didn't.
Yeah, I said ASMR. Is that... No? All right, fine.
Good Lord.
Well, if you guys want ASMR, message into the show and I'll do it just for you. All right, so we have to figure out how to piece the next thing on the end of Odin's chapter. He didn't exactly follow the script we came up with.
Well, you guys give me contradictory things on that.
False.
You can say whatever you want, but I mean...
I liked your
You
chapter
didn't
overall.
want, you didn't want me to club anybody or knock them out or murder anybody, but somehow I got to have a doppelganger. But then what am I supposed to do?
Okay, your doppelgangers don't always have to kill people.
But I think that's the most efficient thing for them to do, so why wouldn't they? Especially if they're monsters.
Because you told them not to and you're the writer.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
act
but
like
that's a
you're
bad
victim.
excuse.
You act like you're a victim of what you're writing, not like you're controlling anything.
There
Like,
you go. Use your imagination
half
and
of
figure
the-
out why the doppelganger can't kill your good guy.
Right, half of the joy of writing is being God, like kneel before
Well, I
me.
feel the next chapter would handle some
There
of
you
that.
go.
But
Put an assassination attempt in there and then have our team thwart it.
Right, yeah, like karate chop. Oh, fail, But I'm just saying. So we got to figure out where it's going, and we got to figure out how the appearance of Dark Meredith doesn't make this whole thing blow up.
Right, and we discussed a couple of options as far as, perhaps having it to where Dark Meredith had showed up and maybe tacking a little bit on the end there where she pulls Zara off to the side. Next thing you know, Meredith's like, okay, I'm out, and she takes off with Zara, but then Zara shows back up with Hammond.
Or I mean, we
So
could
it's like a swap.
cliffhanger it, like it just stops with Meredith there. Oh, and that's it.
yeah, because I feel the next chapter is Meredith and Wilhelm.
And then, what's really going on in a different scene where that person sticks to the script. And then I'm getting dirty looks right now.
You're being a dick.
All right. I mean, I can be meaner on your chapters if you like.
By all means, if there is something to be mean about, be mean. It's entertaining. I think our fans look forward to it.
You two
all
are like
two
a
of you.
married couple. I swear to God.
So,
Anyway. So, okay. Let me butt
Either
in
way,
here
this is all getting edited.
before a divorce happens.
edited? What? You mean the book?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
None
because
of this is final.
what we're recording
is
right
all
now
s-
is staying in.
This is all rough.
Yes, the book will be edited to smooth out any issues that are there.
Of course.
But, so some of the things we discussed last time were Hammond stealing some of Evil Hammond's inventions. Wilhelm would only be able to smell the difference in the doppelgangers around the time of the change. So I don't know if we just want to ignore that fact altogether and just say he can't, or if we want to bring it up like something where he suddenly starts noticing that something's off close to the full moon.
Well, he was close to his change when he got abducted. And
Right,
this
so we
takes
have a
place
ways
shortly
off.
after. So,
Right, but we're going to drag out these doppelgangers for the next several chapters.
okay. Oh, I'm just saying, depending on the time scale, he either already has changed, or we could say the wolf's being brought it out
Well,
of him, and then he's past it.
And let's
Here's
think.
my thing. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, let's think of it like this, too, that it may be dragged out over several chapters, but these chapters might be taking place over the course of 1 or 2 days.
Possibly. And also, it's going to be different characters in each of these chapters.
Right.
We're not throwing the whole team at them.
Plus, I think there's a bit of a werewolf hangover to deal with, too. I think he's going to be a little worn and sluggish. You know,
I
after...
think the whole team is still kind of recovering from that battle and everything.
That's true. That peanut butter scented spider orgy probably took it out of them.
Uh-huh. Anyway, but I think that this is going to be a kind of a build, that these kind of meetings is going to be, you know, one doppelganger introduced and another doppelganger introduced, and it's going to be kind of this build until the Robert reveal, you know? Like, I
Yes.
think that's going to be, like, a big thing at some point.
And then it's Luke, I am your father.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's that moment, right?
Um,
and you're like, no.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And then
Except not at all.
and then lightning fingers. And you're like, what?
Lightning fingers. That's funny.
I don't know. I get the feeling they might have been done before.
Really?
Just a little bit?
Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn you, George Lucas.
You act as though this is some famous plot that everybody knows already. Anyway, we also stated that Evil Wilhelm is more confident. Perhaps the brownies exact their revenge on Evil Hammond,
On accident,
mistaking
yes.
him
Yeah.
for Good Hammond. And then, and then we said that Robert has to come back because that basically reveals the doppelgangers.
Yeah, I mean, well,
I feel it's at the face-off, the very end of the whole doppelganger sequence.
yeah, let's think about it like this. Okay, so Good Hammond is slightly cruel. Evil Hammond is very cruel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Good Hammond is like, probably catch that brownie. Evil Hammond is squish that brownie.
I think all the doppelgangers are cruel. In fact, that is something we could kind of throw into Odin's chapter to give it a little bit more of a reveal. Is perhaps, Meredith takes part in something. It doesn't even have to be the monster. But maybe she just does something unusually cruel, and they're like, what the fuck,
Steps on something on the way in like a rat. Just
Kicks a cat out of the way. It doesn't have to be
like, oh, that
something.
cat's dead.
A stray cat. I mean, you know what I'm saying. A possum.
No, but I could see it. Like, yeah, whatever. Some small animal runs by, she just squishes it with her heel.
Right.
With such a matter-of-fact expression and like it's nothing. I could see that.
So, yeah, you...
Well, I think that is something that we could note is like, okay, so the crew operates, somewhat utilitarian, but out of friendship. They care for each other. Maybe that wasn't how it started, but it eventually grew to that, and they all had connections, whatever. But the doppelganger crew is going to be strictly utilitarian and probably all the more efficient for it. Each person's going to have a role. No one's going to step on each other because they know exactly what they need to do.
I do think the doppelgangers are very single purpose, right?
Also, the doppelgangers have the benefit that they don't give a shit if the person next to them dies,
Yeah, there's no link between the doppelgangers. They don't care
Right.
about each other.
Right.
But
No, they just lose a skill set. That's how they
but
would look at
the
it.
mission,
Right.
Yeah, that was a tool.
Right,
So
exactly.
The reason to save that other doppelganger might be, I don't want to lose that tool.
Right.
Well, I got to feel there's some self-preservation from them. So, like, they might actually sacrifice a different doppelganger just so they don't get exposed.
To save themselves, possibly.
Right. Yeah, maybe. It could be messed up if it went the right way.
That could actually turn the doppelgangers in on each other. Now
Well,
they don't trust
I
each
mean,
other.
that's the old, Tolkien evil turns on itself kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah. No honor amongst thieves, so.
That's true.
But
Yeah, so we could actually, while the doppelgangers are causing issues between our team, the doppelgangers could also start having issues amongst themselves, for the same reasons, just, a lack of trust and maybe there even starts to be some rivalry,
Between the doppelgangers?
Yeah, like maybe evil Zara shows up and Hammond's like complaining to her and she's, hey, have you noticed something up with Meredith lately? And she throws the other Meredith under the bus for whatever reason to draw attention away from herself.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of openness. But, okay, so where do we go from here? So we have...
Well, I do feel the next chapter should be the other team because you had them split up originally because there was like 6 jobs, I thought, 5 or 6 jobs they had to do.
Okay.
5 or
called
6
in.
jobs who hit.
They were called
Oh.
into the switchboard or whatever.
So
Yeah.
realistically, if we leave Meredith on the porch and we just stop it there, they see her. I think if she is on the porch, it ends right there. That what are you doing here? End of chapter. Period. We don't explain anything. They don't leave the porch. They are caught in limbo on the porch.
Wait, didn't they burn it to the ground at the end
Yes,
of your
yes.
chapter?
with the
There's no porch left.
with the burning down the Hot Topic from South
I'm
Park
saying
playing
it's
in the
not.
background.
They're still
you're
there's-
cutting it
they're
out?
still striking the match or something like that. Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
Because then I think it switches the
Is the
chapter.
monster still alive at the end of your chapter? I can't remember.
Well, they murdered one, and then 2 more attacked, and she's like, "Yeah, let's not try and figure this out.
I didn't
Okay.
entirely
Let's
get
just
that.
end that."
Okay.
Well, because the drapes was one, and then one came off an armchair.
Yeah, I didn't grasp it either,
Yeah.
but sometimes I have trouble hearing it.
I mean, I kind of got that there might be more than one, but
Well,
I didn't
if-
get
if-
that there was like 3 or something like that.
Well, the curtain extended and slammed the door shut. And then they could see that the curtain was too long and blowing in a wind that didn't exist because the windows were shut. So they knew that was one. And then they turn their head and they see this other movement, and one was coming off the armchair and absorbing all the bones from the one they already murdered.
Okay.
At that point, they were like, "I don't know how many's in here, but let's not deal with this."
Okay. So anyway, they can have their let's burn it down conversation from the porch and then
Right.
end of chapter.
Because I'm thinking we jump from there. If we're gonna leave Meredith there, then we pick up with real Meredith in her chapter.
Sure. Real Meredith was chasing down the Baba Yaga
Right.
calls. You know what I'm thinking, actually, now that we're talking about this, is all of a sudden, because we did address this, the team addressed this with Karen, all these calls came in this morning. I say
Right.
we start wreaking havoc on the whole city. What if Talbot was like, this isn't moving fast enough, and just started releasing
Okay.
shit?
Unleash
So what
hell.
you're saying is we're now at the mayor scene in Ghostbusters.
So, yeah.
Dogs
So,
and cats.
what
Okay,
if
so
it's
it's
not
only
just
sleeping
our
together,
team?
mass chaos.
If we want to jump to our bad guys, and let's say there's a leprechaun loose in the in their headquarters, or like something like that, like this stuff's starting to affect them too.
All right. So you're saying we don't jump right to Meredith.
No, we can, but I'm just saying like this
Well,
is.
we've been doing it like a hero villain kind of thing.
I get that.
So
yeah, but
we
if
could
it's
still
not
do that.
if it's
But
not good for
maybe-
the story, then
What I'm saying is we can now do city as the other oddball chapter. Like kind of a
yeah, but if
overview.
you're okay, but if we're doing what Loki is saying and we're ending the chapter with Meredith is just there, but we want to portray that there's 2 Merediths, you really need to jump right to the Meredith
That's
chapter.
why. That's why
Yeah.
I said that. Yeah.
yeah.
Is that we want to make it clear
right.
that there are 2 Merediths. Right
So
now.
it doesn't have to be right after this chapter, but I'm saying maybe the villains are starting to have issues as well.
Well, what we
Right,
could
okay.
do is Blackwell, being a government official as he is, might have government things to do with the fact that city's on fire.
Yeah, like some unintended consequences of what's going on. Well, I mean, Blackwell didn't intend to unleash holy hell in the world.
So are we revealing to the public that these things are there? I mean, if they're kind of all over.
Well,
This
it
would be the tipping point if
it
holy
depends
hell was
how-
unleashed.
how Michael Bay we want to be. Because
We
you
don't
could keep
wanna
it on
be
the
Michael
wraps. You
Bay.
can make it a little more Men in Black, coincidental. Like this block saw something, but we can
I
explain
mean,
it away.
really, truly, Agent Crow would be all over the place trying to cover things up. He needs a flashy thing.
The way Fantastical Beasts came up with their version of the flashy thing,
You mean the rain?
Yes, yes.
the forgetting potion or whatever it was.
But yeah, it just depends how big we want to go with this. How much do we want to change our world?
Crap.
Because
now,
if
do we
you
have
make
to do a
if you
flashy
make a
thing now?
mess, and where everybody sees this, the society itself will change.
I mean,
Truly, in this time frame, could he just say it was a magic show, or like would people buy that back then? Technology, like all these things are for truly. If they had seen
To some degree.
a television back then, they would have been like, "Ooh, magic," So I mean, really, could we?
you had people, hanging from chains off of like 50-story buildings,
I mean, look, we can ex machina that whole thing if we really wanted to, but we'd have to introduce it now.
What?
Some kind of mesmer or whatever, so that it can.
I say we
trick
introduce
people into
Crow.
thinking that their memory is false.
Ooh, maybe that's the next step. If we're going
Crow.
to throw the city in there, it's time to introduce Crow. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
can I have a refresher on him? I have some vague memories.
He's an agent for what was it, MI666?
Yeah, MI666. So he works for the government. The government knows about these strange goings on.
So they have their own division.
Right.
Of paranormal activity, and they also
And
hunt these
Crow's the
paranormal
field
things,
agent,
who himself is paranormal.
a victim of
Yes,
a spell.
of a paranormal incident. Yeah. And so he is a soul trapped inside a suit. Actually, he's trapped inside a lantern that controls a suit.
Okay. Okay. First it sounded like Hellboy 2, now it's more the thing from Zelda. Okay.
I don't know what thing from Zelda you speak
There's
of.
like these wizard guys with lanterns. It's not important.
Okay. Well, he's called Crow because of the crow mask from the old doctors.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole bubonic plague era.
Right. So there's a staff with a lantern, and the lantern staff controls this crow body. With the
But he also use the staff as a weapon?
yeah,
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
But
I think he's kick-ass.
it's supernatural.
Right.
I've been trying to draw it forever, and it sucks. I can't get the drawing right.
Oh, you had a drawing. I liked it.
Did you like
Now,
that?
does he really work for the government? Because that sort of sounds like
Yes, and
a
the reason
bound
he,
soul that just kind of serves itself.
well, he does because
Well,
he's
he-
looking for the cure.
yeah.
He's looking how to fix himself.
He's looking how to fix himself and for the person who did that to him.
right.
So
He sounds more like almost like a privateer, like somebody who works with consent of Crown but is not directly employed.
But the government gives him access
Like
to more
sort of
information than
sanctioned.
he could get on his own. Why would
Right.
he not work for the government? And why would the government not access somebody who's basically
Because
bulletproof?
he doesn't play by the rules.
What
He
was
needs-
this
as
Briggs
long
and
as he-
Murtaugh?
As long as he gets the job done, I don't think the government cares.
God damn it, Murtaugh! You're gonna end up on your ass one of these days.
Really? Really?
No.
All right. Well, I've personally met Crow, and I can tell you that he plays by the rules enough to get the job done.
Personally. No, I like the character. I don't know. I fancied the look, and then I was like, this is a good story for him. So,
hmm
uh,
I think he's kick-ass.
yeah. But yeah, okay. So if we're gonna
That's a different costume.
if we're gonna unleash hell, or what have you, yeah, then I don't know. We do have that decision to make. Do we? Does the world know? Because I think we're at a. Let's face.
I think it works best if it's a bit on the down low.
Well,
Like, the worst kept secret kind of thing.
okay, so not quite Men in Black, but
But like these things are starting to be seen by some people.
Right.
Keeping in mind that things aren't going to spread like they are nowadays while we have the internet. You know.
Well,
Back then, an isolated incident could actually be an isolated
the
incident.
more these isolated incidences that expose mundane people to these experiences, the more you're going to start seeing these agents get in the street where we
Right.
haven't seen them much in the story. I think that they'll definitely come out just to calm all this down.
right.
Restore
That's
order
the
kind of
idea.
thing.
okay. So maybe things are getting bad enough that Crow
Has
gets
to
involved with
do
the
street
team
work.
and stuff like
And
that.
we did have that side story where Crow's out observing our team, but they don't necessarily know he's there.
Maybe that's what we do then, right?
Yeah, that'd be a good chapter.
Maybe
Where's
the
that?
whole-
I want that chapter.
Oh, I started writing that. That was one of the Hex files.
All right, maybe this comes full circle.
I kind of like that in the story.
Maybe the whole team is
I
indisposed.
mean, we can squeeze it in
Crow
there.
has a relationship with Meredith in that they know each other and they've worked together before,
Correct.
right? Because she's worked with the spies and the government agencies and stuff, and that's what
Well,
we're
we
kind of
said
unraveling. a
Robert
little bit.
was a government contact when he was
yeah,
young,
wasn't
right?
there a whole cruel wolf thing or whatever?
Yeah. And it's also a mistake being made by the opposition.
Raven and the Wolf.
So, but anyways, so what if? Okay, so we go from your chapter
Mm-hmm.
where Meredith is on the porch to the actual Meredith chapter where Meredith maybe is having a little hard time with Baba Yaga. I mean, Baba Yaga is kind of a big deal.
Here's my thing: is that in some of those jobs,
What is she doing there?
She doesn't have to be eating children.
No, but I mean, she's like a major character of Russian mythology, and like she's in England.
Here's
She's
my
been released.
Okay, my point is, those things don't all have to be there. If the doppelgangers were making some calls to draw the team
Sure.
out,
Yeah,
there
it
doesn't
could be
have to
bullshit.
be a Baba Yaga. Also, yeah, some of the calls who claim the Baba Yaga lives in there, it could be some old hag like brewing in the forest. You know, like
Right.
it doesn't have to
I'm
be
just
the Baba.
making soup. What?
Right, right.
Put the ladle
You steal
down.
one person's child, and they're all Baba Yaga. So yeah.
He was a meaty little bastard. What do you want?
So I made a candle.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it could go either way on that, but if we are going the idea that maybe Talbot released the Baba Yaga.
Okay.
That's a big thing to release.
Oh yeah.
And that is definitely a kind of thing that Crow.
It is, but when I wrote those things that were showing up, aside from the brownie, I really didn't think half of that.
Yeah,
needed
but
to.
maybe this is a little more than we were thinking, because he did have a
That
decent monster, right?
That would be something that Blackwell would not be controlling.
What if
that would
Talbot-
get out of his?
Yeah,
his
if
A
hands.
Talbot-
brownie
no,
or
no,
the
Baba
mon-
Yaga.
If Talbot's
Oh.
involved,
She's a caster herself. She could summon.
he might be seeding all these things, you know?
yeah.
I don't know. It's difficult because it's a decent idea, I think, and I think that it really challenges the crew to have something real like the Baba Yaga, and it's powerful enough to where it would challenge
Is
Meredith.
this where Karen comes in and is like, "Honey, you can't stay." You know?
What?
Do you remember in that chapter we also said, "Oh, if it's really her, tell her I said hello."
Right.
not that we're friends.
But
I'm just trying to see this afterlife saloon that they're all hanging out in.
like some kind of spirit world, yeah, the Spirit Inn. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I think that would be enough for Crow to get involved. But if while they're doing this, we have like
Okay, so actually
Dark.
that's a thought. Ooh, that's a thought. What if next chapter does go to Good Mary, and she realizes she's a little over her head if it's the real Baba Yaga, but then, we do some chapter breaks in there where it's also how the city is kind of, this stuff starting to pop up in other places. It's not being contained, and then we do the appearance of Agent Crow. Maybe he can end up helping Mary because that is a formidable situation.
I'm not entirely against it, but I'm thinking about like.
Though if Crow gets involved, I feel like he's going to try to kill the Baba Yaga.
Oh, no doubt, yeah. Well, along your lines, I'm thinking that maybe he's actually chased something across her path or something. That this isn't specifically about her.
My feeling about this, though,
They're saying Crow's
is
not going to radio this
she's
in for
got
backup.
she's got to get away. I think Baba Yaga is going to run.
Well, let's think about that.
Well, there are other chicken legs.
We'll come back
I
after
just
the
don't
break
think that our team could take her. So
with
yeah.
what we want to do about this. Maybe we take a look at what exactly is in the Baba Yaga's disposal
Okay.
to work with. All right, we'll be back.
Hey y'all, Satan here. Are you enjoying this episode of the Dark and Stormy Nights podcast like I am? It's just titillating, isn't it? Why don't you come on and listen in with me? Enjoy.
Okay, we are back, and once again, our sponsors have decided not to sponsor us yet.
So unloved.
So you can change that by telling people about us and getting them to come and listen to our show. So
Our sponsors have decided not to sponsor us yet.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be a chicken company tie-in with the Baba Yaga.
well, ironically, because after some research, we find that, yes, the Baba Yaga's hut is held up by chicken legs.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
I'm wondering if KFC came up with this as a way to sell more chicken. But and then she flies around.
In a pestle mortar.
No, she flies around a mortar and wields a pestle as a weapon.
She doesn't oar through the air like the flying skateboard in
That-
Back to the Future.
That's not what it seems like, not from what I'm reading.
Just pushing off in the air.
It's all
Maybe
pretty
she
crazy.
uses the pestle to steer her mortar.
You
But
can't
she's-
go over water without power.
She's of course hideous, and old and twisted and all that stuff.
She's what you picture when you think like old haggard witch.
So, and I've often heard her associated with the type of boogeyman, right?
Oh, yeah.
So she is some type of boogeyman, which often,
She eats children and adventurers.
right? Why children? I don't know. Maybe because they're tender
Right.
or something. Not that
That's
I,
the
do.
rumor.
I don't eat children, so I don't know. They seem fatty. So, so I mean, we've talked about going either way with it, right? So Baba Yaga could be a red herring. It's not really her.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could go the other way, and as ridiculous as it sounds, it might actually be her.
You know what I kind of like, actually? All right, I don't know if you guys want to go on full-on ridiculous Baba Yaga story here. Or we could make it somebody posing as the Baba Yaga, like a shapeshifter kind of thing. Maybe it's a younger witch who has changed her appearance to an, old woman.
What is she getting out of this?
Right. Was this to make her bones, or she's trying to get like
whatever she, needs to do for her
Street cred
spell
in the witch gang.
without getting herself,
Is there
accused
a
of this.
huge underground witch scene that we don't know
So-
about.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
No, like I'm saying, like, okay, so this is some younger witch who doesn't want to be accused of whatever she's doing right now. So
Oh.
all she has to do is pose as the Baba Yaga. No one's gonna doubt that the boogeyman has done these things.
Got it. See, I was thinking like the first rule of Witch Club is you don't talk about Witch Club.
I wasn't really going there with it, but whatever.
All right. But I'm
We can
thinking
do
about
that.
that now. That's not terrible. Like maybe Witch Club made this happen.
Maybe Meredith shows up to interrogate her, and that's
Right.
her response.
Right,
First
yeah.
club
There's a bunch of
Witch Club.
witches beating the shit out of each other.
Or
Yeah.
it could be a wino who called in because there's this cat lady that he swears is Baba Yaga, but he's just really, around
See,
the
like
bend.
macking on her, be like, if she's not a witch though, I'd be into it.
Really?
No? I mean, she's a little dirty, but it's Victorian era England. Everybody is. So
Oh God.
she's got 3 teeth. I got 3 teeth. We could match up.
Really?
This is what the 4th drink does to me.
It is amazing that mating continues to happen after certain points. In
I mean,
history.
seriously, how did people before shaving and showering daily get it on? Yuck.
We're a little off topic here.
Well, okay, but I'm thinking the Baba Yaga doesn't shave and shower daily. It's all
Well, most people only did it like
That's
once
fine.
a month.
3 long hairs growing out of that mole on her face.
I mean, you're just kind of entering the period where bathing once a week was becoming fashionable.
Yeah, it's gross.
No, that was a lot. It was almost too much. They thought it might be unhealthy. They weren't sure. Like once a
Isn't
week seemed a little excessive.
Smelling rancid, unhealthy.
And I don't know if deodorant really was a thing. I mean, it's probably
I
like the
think it
hippie stuff,
was.
like lemongrass. The stuff that doesn't really work.
Yuck. Anyways,
If you're one of them out there, it doesn't work. I'm sorry.
so I'm thinking ambush, right? I'm thinking that they responded to the call. Oh, it's back there in the woods, whatever. It's horrible. Blah, blah, blah. They get back there, and it's just some middle-aged woman baking pies in her normal-looking-ass place and everything. And
Mhm.
it's like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. We're just here to investigate. And, we heard about these claims. And then, I don't know. Something's got to set it off, right? But whatever that inciting incident is, suddenly the hut starts to morph into this, 4 walls of skulls.
You know what I
and
think it is?
propped up.
Well,
I
is she even
think that-
physical?
Here's the thing: is I think that ultimately we have to have her get away. But I like where you're going with this. And
on her
this,
flying
this
pestle
it's
mortar.
no.
Oh, okay.
But like she's like, no, I'm sorry, that's not the case. I'm just, here doing my thing. I've been here forever. Obviously, I have a whole cabin
Right.
built here.
My name's Rosita. I'm
Right.
not-
And Meredith is kind of like questioning it because Meredith is really smart and
Yeah.
uses her instincts.
Yeah, she'd put
and
it all
she's
together,
kind
I
of
think.
like,
Those
do
are
I
children
trust
in
you?
those pies. I know.
Right. Well, no, she's questioning
Oh,
it
okay.
though.
Okay.
And I think that at this point that the witch is saying that that's a very harmful thing.
Right. It's offensive.
Right, for you to think about witches. We're not all like that.
It's
and-
witchist.
Yeah, and so like she kind of shames Mary to the point where she's like, okay, I'm sorry for your time. And as soon as Mary's out the door, the house stands up and walks away.
God damn it.
Right.
She gets the
So-
pie with the baby in it out of the oven.
Right. Still crying. It's not done all the way. She's a little
Mhm.
upset about that.
Just gonna.
Maybe there's still a child
Stabs with a
strapped to
meat
the
fork.
tree that was hidden behind the house,
Right,
and
something, yeah.
Mary
It's
has to release
drying.
the kid.
Yeah. Damn it. Are you okay, son? I'm Augustus Floop.
I mean, it's amusing. I could go with it.
So, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah. So, are we getting Crow involved in this or not?
I think he doesn't have to be involved if the witch is just going to run away, and it's going to kind of make it look like it's the Baba Yaga, but she's not been confronted in a full-on fight with the Baba Yaga.
Yeah, it's just moving on.
I don't think the crow needs to be
I
involved.
mean, this is a good spot for a chase, though. What if Mary makes chase and the Baba Yaga's hut is running through the streets of London? That would be kind of hilarious.
Now you're like Stay Puft Marshmallow.
I mean, maybe, but that's kind of
And
awesome.
See, that gets back to what I was asking earlier. Is it physically a hut with chicken legs, or is this like a ghostly thing?
I'm saying chicken legs.
No, I mean, it does
Okay,
it
we're
appear
ready?
that way,
It's even
but it's
better.
not really real.
Even-
Listen, it's the lore, and this is a comedy. So I say
And it's even
chicken
better
legs is kind of funny.
if Meredith brings home a bucket of KFC at the end.
KFC's Was it a
Not
thing?
invented yet, no. But who cares? It's a comedy.
I mean, that's
Popeyes?
like Flintstones with a giant chicken. I mean, that thing would be huge.
Maybe it's all said and done and she goes home. And
25-foot drumstick.
anybody else craving chicken today?
You know, ironically, in the beginning I thought, well, it's probably got a leg at each corner. But what if it's even funnier than that? What if the hut is like a centipede of chicken legs?
I think it's only supposed to be 2, but do whatever you want.
Like,
you know?
what if no? But
It's supposed to be 2.
what if there's like like
six-legged.
hundreds of chicken legs holding this thing up?
Why chicken?
Why? They trip over each other trying to run.
I'm just imagining like
I
1,000 legger.
just I have to
like you ever
ask-
see
It's disgusting.
A
Did-
completely unrelated, pointless question. Because I know this is ancient Russian mythology. We'll never understand it. But why chicken legs? Out of all the creatures they could have used,
storyteller's
why
probably
chickens?
hungry. Well, it's funny though is the witch right? They eat
Because
babies.
it looks like tree branches.
The witches eat
So it's
babies, but there's perfectly good chicken legs to eat holding the hut up.
Nobody
right?
eats the legs, right? Like
Of
the
chickens?
Well, you eat the meat, the thigh.
Who does
Well,
eat?
yeah, no, but it's
That's
the,
my favorite
the
part.
Pictures all just show the bottom, like the claw. And
Oh,
like
the chicken feet?
yeah.
Well, it's got to have knees.
You've never had
or it
dim
can't
sum?
Run.
No.
Yeah, you eat fried chicken feet and dim sum.
No, thank you.
What?
No. Yes, I agree.
No,
No,
I'm
thank
taking you
you.
guys downtown.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Dim sum's good.
Maybe.
No.
It's only one of the things.
I'm very unadventurous
to
in this.
live. Yeah, I
on
know
this when it comes
that.
to food. You know.
You're gonna get to your deathbed and be like, I wish I had dim
No,
sum.
no, no. I'll be very happy.
Okay, so
I'm
we
on
need
the firm
to
opinion that everything that's good becomes American.
we need to make the decision. Are we chasing the witch or are we letting her go?
I don't know, man. It's hard for me to say because
It's also
I really
very
like the
easy
idea.
if we're saying these things are starting to be everywhere. It's very easy for something else to show up and Meredith have to chase that.
Yeah.
And that could lead her straight to Crow, who is also trying to tame
There's
things
nothing. Do we
within
have
the
to
city.
finish the story, or like this particular piece in this chapter, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if she doesn't catch it? You know. So, like you were saying, it gets away, right? But there's more shit going on. Maybe
You're
that's what it
breathing in
is.
the microphone
Maybe
again.
at the end of the story, her and Crow end up back to back fighting other things.
Well, yeah, no. I
Yeah,
feel
I mean,
that they're
it could
going
be
job
as-
to job. They're not going back
That's
to the
what I'm
house
saying,
unless
is-
they're
No,
tired or
the
done.
story-
But it could be as simple as on the way home, she sees Crow battling something in the street and she joins in.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Listen, here's what I'm saying: is the whole thing in the woods takes place the way we say it does. Then the thing runs off, and she's like, "Oh hell no," and she runs after it, right?
Okay,
And then
you're
something
saying
else
that's
happens.
when she collides with him.
And then
sees
yeah, this thing's 1,000 leg fucking hut
1,000 legs.
of chicken legs. It's making distance on her, right? But she's chasing, and then there's other shit going on. She gets to take in all this weird fucking shit going on all over town, and she sees Crow, and he's getting backed up, and there's like
Right.
zombies coming
Right.
or whatever,
So what
and attack
Yeah.
unicorns are attacking them or something like that, and they're just like, okay, we can't fight this thing, and then the chapter ends with them back to back, surrounded by crazy shit.
Given a choice,
cool.
I go with unicorns over zombies.
What I love about what we're doing here is that with hell breaking loose within the city, it makes our team more distracted and it makes it more feasible for them to not notice the doppelganger situation going on.
Right.
Well, that's the only question, though.
Because they're
Because
all
Is
spread
because
They're
out.
going to be busy. They're going to be off. They're not going to be interacting as much. They're
Right.
going to do one-on-one jobs because
Which leaves them
there's
vulnerable.
no people to help join in. They're going to be disjointed. I mean, as much as organizational as Karen is, if somebody they're all going out to different jobs.
Right.
And if somebody shows up and hey, I finished early, I can help out.
Well, that's the
They're
question.
not going to
though.
question it.
So if I do the chapter like this, who is the doppelganger antagonist that's involved in it, and where is he or she?
Take your pick.
Right.
I mean, on your
So
trip to do whatever you want.
My thought was that we could at some point have a legion of werewolves attacking, and Dark Wilhelm's in charge of them or something
Oh,
like that.
Jesus. Do you know how much damage a werewolf?
Wouldn't
it'd
that
be
be enough
insane.
for Meredith to question what's going on?
Maybe, but at this point we're ending the chapter
Ooh.
with her still tied up in
Wait,
all
wait,
this.
I
So
got a
you're saying
thought.
you're going to ditch it on me to deal with it?
I
Is
got
that what you're
No,
saying?
no, you're a different chapter.
Yeah.
So we have his on a cliffhanger. This would be on a cliffhanger. And then we're talking about going into what you
So
do.
I start a whole new story.
Right. So you're doing who? You've got Hammond. You've got...
Well, we already
Oh,
did
no, he's got
Hammond.
Hammond. So you're stuck
You
with
did-
real Wilhelm,
Well,
right?
I got an idea I'd like to
Or
introduce.
Zara.
I thought Zara was with...
Well, Zara was with Hammond.
So you have Wilhelm and Dale.
Right.
Well, you were talking about like werewolves go nuts, which I think is just would
Werewolves
be so
gone
OP.
wild.
Nobody would be able to handle
Hairy
that.
titties everywhere.
But you know what would be kind of fun and really chaotic? Most of our magic's done by, items, enchanted things left over from an elder era, all that kind of stuff. What if somebody goes to one of those Wearers Anonymous and just, leaves a brooch or something? And then everybody shifts all at once uncontrollably, just goes feral.
Like it's a line dance of going werewolf. Everybody to the left.
No, they're
Okay,
not all
well,
werewolves. They're all kinds of
for
different
how
things.
long? Because you would have to have Wilhelm there.
Well, even an evening is enough to destroy a lot.
It is. So you're gonna have two bad Wilhelms? Is that how this is gonna go down?
What?
I'm saying that in a group like that, you could easily have.
Right, but
20
how are you gonna
people.
put that into the story unless you have Wilhelm going into the meeting and then he'd be affected as well?
True, or he could be responding to it if that wasn't one he attended. I don't know. It's just a notion. Like you were talking about having a dozen
Okay.
werewolves. I was just saying that it might be more interesting if it was a bunch of different kinds of wearers just running all over town like a zoo.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I do like the idea of you ending with evil Wilhelm, because then we're jumping into the Wilhelm chapter, and it'll do the same thing as
Oh
before.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
You
I
have
didn't even
evil
think
Oh,
of that.
Meredith.
that would dovetail in.
Yeah, evil Meredith, and then Meredith's chapter, evil Wilhelm, and then Wilhelm's chapter.
Right.
So I like the way that that's playing out.
Yeah, not bad. So we can come full circle.
Right.
So then, because we still haven't introduced evil Zara,
We have not.
which could introduce.
You know what? We'll
Back
throw
to-
her at the end of Wilhelm's chapter.
Okay, and then, right. So evil Zara versus good Wilhelm, and then it brings us back to good Zara, right? Or do we have an evil Hammond yet?
No, I was looking forward to that one.
So maybe he's with Meredith, seeing how that's a two-person team. I don't know.
Well, no. Oh yeah.
But, yeah.
Would be Wilhelm and Meredith on another team, but yeah, an evil Hammond could join them, sure.
Well, I'm saying evil Hammond was with evil Meredith, right? Maybe he's driving the vehicle. Or he could be with evil Zara, and they're both Wilhelms from.
So you're teaming up the doppelgangers?
Well, no, in this case, maybe, because we do have a team up already of Odin's characters with Zara and Hammond. So we still have a Hammond out there
Yeah.
floating in limbo.
Well, when we had originally planned it, the chapter was going to be good Hammond, evil Zara. And then it changed to good Hammond, good Zara, evil Meredith.
Right.
So now are we bringing in a doppelganger to fully join in on these chapters, or are we just bringing them in at the end and then leaving the actual fight for future chapters?
Yeah, I was
Well-
thinking they'd infiltrate the other group.
Because of the way this has started laying out, I think what we've done is introduce the doppelgangers. We haven't full-fledged.
You mean their own chapter?
Full-fledged given them anything. What I'm seeing though is in the one I'm about to write next is cliffhanging it right at the clash, right? So there's these factions of messed up shit going on. One of those messed up things happening is a charge of wares coming at Meredith and Crow.
Okay, here's my
And-
thing. If you do that, you have automatically revealed to Meredith that there are evil doppelgangers, instead of waiting for future chapters when Robert's the reveal. Is that what you're aiming to do?
Well, how else do we want to approach this?
You don't have to have a team. You can have a team of wares if you want to, but then just have Hammond or have Wilhelm suddenly show up behind her
Right.
and then screw something up that ends up being kind of nefarious, or
It's difficult, right?
let something evil get away that she was trying to, like something that he should have been able to stop, and he's like, eh. But also, we said Wilhelm's more confident. His personality is different. Like, you're going to be able to play off that this is evil Wilhelm.
There's a couple different ways, because Wilhelm doesn't have control of his
Or at a
awareness
point-
yet.
Right.
So this guy would have control of it, but if he wants someone to get away, he can pretend he doesn't.
Also, what could just happen is she's in the middle of something, needs backup, and that's when he decides to split.
Right.
I was
Okay.
chasing something.
Like, you don't have to make it obvious, but
Right.
at a point where she's backed in a corner and he's like, that pack of werewolves needs me. And he takes off.
Right. That's true. We do have different things facing off against each other, right? So it could be...
I don't think the doppelganger needs to become a whole novel in itself, but it's definitely a few chapters worth. I wouldn't kill it off so quick.
It could be the like evil unicorns against the werewolves or something like
A
that.
pack of wolves against...
And Wilhelm
Wait.
decides to back up the werewolves instead of Meredith when she needs them. Which would be enough to send her over the fucking top against Wilhelm.
Yeah, for sure. If he doesn't have her back, I mean, part of the team, that's his job.
So what we need is enough emotion to where nothing is perfectly spoken in the end. You know, just pure anger. Because once you start to break down the what happened,
I think
it falls
that
apart.
in order to do it, you really need to have Wilhelm being one almost arrogant and dismissive of her. You know? Like at a point when she's like, you know, Wilhelm, give me a hand, or, you know, like something is very stressful for her, like, which is unusual for Meredith. Like, normally she's very cool and collected and has everything in hand. And, like, I think that if she's at that point with Wilhelm and he's just like, yeah, no, you got this, and I'm out, you know, like,
Right.
that's going to be a big, like, slap in the face for her.
Right.
But I think that, I think that just those two things, being arrogant for starters, because
Sure.
that's the opposite of Wilhelm, and just being dismissive of her in general is going to be enough to be like, what the hell just happened? You
Right,
know?
yeah. Yeah, but I'm wondering if we can't, between all the chapters, kind of funnel it all together.
Eventually, but you need more build-up. I mean, it's been one
Yeah,
chapter.
Well,
we're
if
I
all-
mean, you
just
just want to give a glimpse
Right,
of
if all
evil
hell's
Wilhelm.
breaking loose in the city, though, right? If we can push, you know, in the course of each chapter, kind of push them closer to each other and almost corral them so that the next time around we can force them together, you know?
The doppelgangers?
No, the team.
You know what's
them
amusing?
out.
And I know we're writing a comedy. I get that. But it's kind of funny how it's hard to tell a story without doing all the right things. And this is really all Blackwell's fault. I mean, if he didn't push so hard for all this crap that he was standing against, he wouldn't turn the world into the crap hole he already imagined it to be. He made things so much worse just by trying to do all this.
Sure. But isn't that how it normally works?
Yeah, it's just kind of funny, you know, like, you know, having an unintended message in what is just supposed to be basically a
Well,
Ghostbuster
ultimately,
send-off.
it's Talbot that's pulling the strings here.
Right, but they both kind of want this. Well, Talbot wants power, and to gain the power,
Right.
you know, he's willing to burn the world down.
Right. Definitely same team, but
But yeah, okay. Let's come back after a break, and we'll hatch out the rest of the next couple chapters.
sounds good.
All right.
Meanwhile, deep within the depths of Castle Numbskull, our intrepid heroes explore the idea of being entertaining for once. Back to the action!
And we're back. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Meditation Hour. Sorry about that.
Yeah, was that a tryout for NPR?
Was that
What was
bad?
happening there?
Oh my God, that'd be great if NPR hired me. That'll never happen, but it'd be great. Okay, so we just planned 12, right?
We just planned 12, yes.
So we need to plan 13.
Correct, which is Wilhelm's chapter.
Okay. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I've been writing a lot about Wilhelm lately.
Have you?
Yeah, I have.
Maybe, yeah. Are you in touch with them yet?
I guess so.
Do you feel
We're
like
touching
you've-
each other, yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Your hairy parts.
My inner Wilhelm is well connected, I suppose.
Okay. So actually, I think you're getting stuck with Wilhelm and Dale
Okay, why?
because nobody else took Dale.
Dale can stay home with Karen now. He's no longer alone,
That's
and
true.
he has to be protected now that they know they're hunting him.
That's true.
And who better to protect him than the house?
And more entertainingly, now they're looking for the pig out with the crew
Well,
because they keep taking him out.
It occurs to me. It occurs to me that should you write Wilhelm versus who?
Well, I guess I got to lead up to Evil Zara, right?
Okay. So if you're writing Wilhelm versus Zara, we might need a chapter just for Dale and Karen.
We could.
I don't know what that would be.
Calls coming in, her preparing.
Well, I'm thinking some kind of attack on the house to
I don't know.
Again,
It feels
that-
done to death.
get the pig.
We've already done that once.
Maybe
Twice.
maybe something to draw them out instead, right? Maybe they've learned their lesson, and now it's about drawing them out. So Karen's answering phones, leg up on this, arm on that, something like that, you know. And then
If you're gonna make them attack, then then we're gonna have to actually work out
Let me point
the
something out
loophole in
here.
the contract.
If
that
you're going to do this, and you're going to jump from my chapter of Wilhelm going into Evil Zara, are you next going to do Evil Zara, or are you next going to Karen and Dale?
I don't know.
I'm just saying that you're going to throw the house fight right back on Odin, and he just did one.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't-
and I know how
didn't
much
really
he
enjoy
hates
it.
those. So
well, not only that.
Well, I wasn't-
if they were to
He's just-
attack,
he just
there is a
wrote the same chapter,
There is
so
a
I'm
logistic
saying-
issue, though.
well, it's
because
not
with
just that.
Karen-
Nobody wants to see that chapter happen again. Okay, nobody, especially not me,
Anyway,
wants to see that chapter.
if
So
Karen
maybe we
happen
don't write
again.
is
another
going to
house
be in the
fight.
defense of the team, and they're going to attack, and
No,
Karen
no, no.
was summoned by them,
Defend Dale, not the house.
Yeah,
not
it
Karen
doesn't matter.
can't fight
we
the
never
bad guy
worked out
team.
that loophole.
She can't fight the
And
villains.
because that
That is fair. That's fair. That's fair.
that would be used against
That's
her
fair.
if we don't figure out
Okay.
exactly what that is.
Okay, no, it's fair. All right. Okay,
So I
then-
think that we come full circle and we go from Wilhelm's and dealing with Evil Zara at the end of his chapter into a Zara chapter. I think that's gonna be what falls on to Odin.
okay. Good
Zara,
Zara.
by herself or with somebody?
You gotta do good Zara,
Uh huh.
and then I don't think that we've introed Evil Hammond yet.
Okay, that could be fun.
So we do a good Zara chapter, whatever she's fighting.
Well, let's storyboard yours a little bit
Meredith.
so we know what got left to work on mine.
Evil Meredith
Evil Meredith was in the first one.
with good Zara and good Hammond.
Right.
So either you split them up now.
Oh,
You do have to split them up now. This is after the fact, but we have to come full circle and
Where
bring
does
these
Hammond
characters
go?
back in.
Like, what is that excuse?
Back to Karen to get another job.
All right, I guess. I mean,
Okay, so
Zara could do
maybe
that.
it's a
Or
I need
Meredith.
Zara's help. You go back and help Karen.
Yeah, Karen said she had another
So
job for
so
you.
yeah, so Meredith makes evil Meredith
You
makes up
don't
with
really even need to pick right back up where you left off in that chapter.
good. No, I'm trying
Zara-
to explain how they ended up together, because last we saw them, good Hammond and good Zara were on the porch with evil Meredith.
All right.
So we're trying to split those people up, right?
Yeah, we could just send Zara on her next mission. You don't have to.
Yep.
One would assume that mission has ended. They go back for next orders. No,
It could come up
Is
in the
that
story.
not a logical
I
conclusion?
appreciate that it was thought out, and that's more than enough. But let's work out yours
right.
so I know what's
yeah,
left
no,
to
I
work
just
on
wanna,
mine.
I just trying to connect the dots. That's all. I was
Yeah,
trying
same
to
here.
yeah, I'm just saying it's Zara's next job.
do. Okay. So in your case though, you're going to be writing.
I was trying to go back to what Karen had originally said. A brownie was spotted in the park across town. A call came in saying the Baba Yaga is living in the woods behind their house. If that one's true, blah, 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 blah. A message came in from a Lady Whitby who swears her house is haunted, which he already did. And one of your neighbors insists that a gnome has decided to build her home on her property and steal food from her garden.
Okay.
So technically, Wilhelm can go deal with the gnome, which I had no intention of making an actual gnome.
Okay. If you don't want the gnome to be real,
I mean, we
that's
could.
fine.
No, we could do a gnome, but what do you do with a gnome? It's a
Uh,
garden. It should just be a
Well,
cer-
they ride
ceramic.
wolves and build windmills.
Oh, it could be
you
like
know?
a ceramic gnome that's actually a gargoyle. Or something
Oh no,
that comes to life.
me and Loki actually discussed this one.
Yeah.
We were talking about a creeping gnome that can change itself into stone form, right? When you look at it, and is just creeping across a lawn with 30 other
don't blink.
actual gnomes.
Don't even blink. No? Really? That's what you're doing.
Evil puppet.
What?
The Weeping Angels from Doctor Who, that's what you're doing.
Oh,
I don't know. We don't
Doctor
watch
Who.
that.
I
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
but
I was
yeah,
actually,
no.
Rock the hell
I'm
out
actually
of
thinking
it.
of
The yard
original
is
Poltergeist movie with the evil marionette.
The Don't Blink
No, but think about it.
episode.
They
It's
get
like the most
he gets
freaking
there.
famous Doctor Who.
But he gets there, and he's responding to a call about an evil gnome or something like that. And he gets there, and the yard is covered in gnomes.
And he gets attacked by gnomes?
No, it's
A
just
gnome.
one.
Singular
There's just one.
evil gnome.
Wait,
But there are
it
garden gnomes.
duplicates? Oh!
Everywhere.
Yeah. You know, like someone had a 30th birthday.
Ugh, I don't even know what to do with that. That's awful.
Like only one of them's
It's
real.
the work of nightmares.
Exactly.
Do some callbacks to Fallout 4 now that you've ever played the game.
I have not.
Are you talking about the Dunwich Horror or whatever that house?
There's a
with the-
bunch of garden gnomes all in the game.
Oh. No, they actually do like a horror soundtrack thing before you actually encounter the I forget their name, the giant lizard iguana things.
Oh,
Death
yeah.
Claws.
I don't know.
It-
Anyway.
I don't know. I think it could be a fun chapter. It doesn't. You don't. I know you've been looking for one to not be real, maybe, but
I mean, I just assumed not all of them would be, but
Well, you don't have to do it. Hell,
hey,
if
if
you
we
leave it
want
open,
No, you can write it how you want.
once
roll
around
with
the
this.
table, me or Loki will happily pick that chapter.
but yeah, I thought it'd be funny if it was one real gnome out of a
Oh yeah,
an
because you can do some, a
arsenal.
lot of horror with that. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know what's going on.
Like he starts messing
alternately,
with them.
what we could do is switch this to where at the end of Meredith's chapter, your chapter, it's Zara she runs into, evil Zara. And then I pick up with Zara's chapter, and that leaves at the end of Zara's chapter, it's Wilhelm, and that takes Wilhelm back to Odin to do the gnomes.
oh,
Do you
yeah,
want to do
I kinda
that?
like it because Wilhelm is
Because
neurotic.
you guys
Okay,
have
so
already...
you're
Good
saying
Wilhelm, right?
you're saying that Zara should be my dark
You're evil.
doppelganger.
Mm-hmm.
Do
you
How do
wanna
I
do that and
disappoint
I get
Mary with
evil?
Zara?
Oh, easy. She expects Zara to
Well,
have
two
her
girls
back.
together, one evil. I like
Same-
that. Could
same
be a lot of
plot.
fun.
Zara bails instead of having her back.
Yeah, and I get a neurotic one.
All
into
she has to
suspense
do
horror.
is cop attitude with her. Zara,
I'm
like
digging it.
Meredith's the one person Zara does not cop attitude
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, which would strike her as weird, though. I think.
It would, but the suspicion should be there.
Yeah. Okay, that makes it a little more difficult, but not undoable.
The only question I have is, if I get the gnomes, at some point, doesn't he just murder all the concrete gnomes?
No. He's using them as subterfuge.
Or, no,
I
I'm
think
saying
that
Wilhelm.
your
Wouldn't he
owner's
just break 'em
your
all?
owner's
Oh,
not going to
maybe.
pay you if you do that. I think at the point where his life's in danger, he's
Yeah,
going to
when
start
you're doing
smashing.
evil puppets, you know.
You could go Evil Dead
puppets. What the hell?
though. You could go Evil Dead with it, where they are all real or something,
all along.
and they all tie him down. Yeah.
He thinks it's one and it's all of
Yeah.
them.
No. Like one of them animates at a time.
So do you want me to do the Wilhelm chapter, or do you guys want to make this change?
It sounds like Odin is having fun with the idea of the
the
gnome
gnomes.
chapter. So so what are you thinking for your chapter instead?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know that we really left anything for Zara.
So you're thinking good Zara, and who's the dark?
Okay, we said a brownie. Hammond. Dark Hammond?
Okay. Oh,
no, I
well, that's-
can't. I got to do Dark Wilhelm.
Oh, you do?
I do, because you have good
Oh yeah,
Wilhelm.
because you're gonna take good Wilhelm, so it's the
Crap.
Cascade. Yeah. Oh, but that's dangerous, man. Fucking Dark Wilhelm's dangerous.
Dark Wilhelm is dangerous, but it would have been so much more fun to have Hammond in the brownie scene.
I don't know. We could do
You know
all
what?
this.
We
just-
could leave Zara, good Zara and good Hammond were together in chapter 11.
Right.
We could just have them stay together.
Okay. So who is with good Zara then? Or wait, I'm sorry.
I need a flowchart.
I know, right? Jesus, how did we get here? Okay, so I'm introducing Dark Zara. You're doing Good Zara. Good Zara and who? Is it Good Zara? Well, it's Good Zara and Meredith. Last we saw them together, right?
What?
All right.
you lost me there. You are doing.
I am lost myself.
Meredith went after the Baba Yaga.
Right.
She is
She meets up with
chasing it.
Crow
runs into Crow.
and Dark Zara. Not
Finds-
necessarily together.
No, not together. Finds Dark Zara. Dark Zara bails right when she needs her help.
Right.
And Meredith's like, what the hell just happened? And that is the end of that chapter.
Right.
Then I have a good Zara chapter. Good Zara
But
meets up with Hammond, who's fighting brownies.
well, last we saw Good Zara, she was on a porch with Good Hammond and Dark Meredith as they're about to burn down a house.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens to the other two characters if you're taking off?
That's what I'm saying. Is either Good Hammond can stay with Zara while they go deal with brownies. So I'm
then
saying the 2
I'm
of
saying
them
that
teamed up. They went to deal with the haunting, then they went to the brownies.
maybe if Good Hammond went off with Dark Meredith, right? We have to make mention of that.
Okay, but I wasn't saying that.
What are you saying then?
Zara and Hammond stay together.
And what happens with Dark Meredith? Was
She
there a point in that
leaves,
even? What was the point of that even then?
pointing out that she's a doppelganger when you move on to Good Meredith. I
It-
don't know, honestly.
It
I
would have been
didn't
a
write
pointless
the chapter.
addition to the chapter then.
What do you want to do with her? What's
I
she
don't
supposed to do after she blows up
We
the
can
house?
edit that in piece, but that's my point. Is otherwise there's no point in the chapter. If it leads
All right.
nowhere,
What
it's
would you like the
pointless.
point in the chapter to be?
I don't know. That's the hard part, right?
Is it?
Well, isn't it? Otherwise, we have a pointless chapter. You might as well just cut it out because it doesn't advance the story.
It does not advance the story. All it did was introduce a doppelganger at the very end.
But it doesn't even really do that. We don't know what the fuck that is.
What would you like to do with that?
I don't know, but we have to do something with it.
Okay,
We
so you want
either-
me to fix this in Zara's chapter.
If you're going to take Zara or Hammond, whichever it is, you have to. Whoever takes one of those good guys has to kind of make some kind of mention at it, so it makes sense.
A mention.
Something. I don't care what it is, but
All
we
she
have
has
to
to
make.
do is say Zara or Meredith went off to deal with her job.
Then why the fuck was she there to begin with? What did it
Okay, what is it that you're looking for? Explain this to me.
make
Do you want
sense?
her to take evil Meredith with her?
It doesn't necessarily have to go that way, but then if she doesn't take, if Evil Meredith doesn't go with her, then Evil Meredith should go with Hammond or something. Otherwise, it was pointless.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Then let's switch
you're,
this.
You're saying then that the next chapter, it has Evil Meredith has to be one of the two in the following chapter.
It doesn't necessarily have to be one of the two, but there has to have been a reason why she was
Let's-
there, and
okay,
it has to be
stop.
explained.
There wasn't a reason that she was there, though.
Then what was the point of it?
It was set up, but
And if there was no point of that, then what was the point of the chapter?
entertainment.
But that's not how a story works.
It's a comedy. It doesn't have to be.
There has to be a reason for each scene, dude.
Okay, so let's change this to, all right,
Even if you
the
really
end
like
of
something.
the Good Meredith chapter. We're not going to make it Zara. It's going to have to be Hammond. Sees evil Hammond.
Wait, so good Hammond sees evil Hammond?
No, Meredith. Your chapter, Good Meredith, at the end. It's not going to be Wilhelm or Zara. It's got to be Hammond.
Okay.
So you see evil Hammond.
Okay.
Good luck with that.
So you're taking good Hammond?
I'm taking Good Hammond.
Okay.
It's
Who
gonna-
was
gonna
previously in
have
the
to be-
mansion?
who was previously at the mansion. I will show him showing up to the park to deal with the brownies, shaking ash off of himself. Okay? So he finished up blowing shit up.
But it's no different than if you took...
It is different because he's
Meredith.
going to be cursing Zara for taking off with Meredith.
Okay.
Now
That's
the
fine.
chapter after Wilhelm's. So this is going to be
By the way, that would have worked either way. If you would have took Zara, she
yes,
could have
but
been
then I
doing the same
couldn't
thing.
have Good Hammond show up to help Zara, so I had to switch it so that it's Hammond dealing with the brownies
Okay.
because that's what makes the most sense.
Got it.
Okay, chapter 15 will be Good Zara shows up with evil Meredith. That way it keeps the two of them together. Good?
Okay. As long as it makes sense. It's got to make sense.
Hun, I'm doing the best I can here. Okay.
And once again, Odin never hit the timer.
I have the timer.
I did, but it was much too late.
Okay. So that
I thought I
still
did.
leaves us
That's
with
hard.
no plotting for Chapter 13.
Okay, so
You have 5 minutes to give me plotting again.
Okay.
You guys
Now is
suck.
this 13 mine?
Well, it's not my fault
No,
though.
it's
We
mine.
went back and completely changed what it was going to be.
Okay.
So in the end, you're taking Good Hammond
Good
fighting
Hammond
a brownie.
fighting a brownie.
This writes itself. It
I
really
hate you
does. This is
guys.
great shit.
And then it's going to end up with evil Wilhelm.
Because Hammond's gadgets do no good against brownies. He is essentially powerless. He's going to try and use them anyways. Brownies can make them fail. And he's going to have to resort to
So
brute
we're
force.
not doing the
Oh,
evil Hammond
good
versus
God,
the...
evil.
Were they brownies? The king? I thought...
Well, that would be a good place to introduce Dark Hammond, yeah. But it'd be Dark Hammond versus Good Hammond, and you have a real confrontation at that point.
Because we
That is what
we
we
originally
talked
talked about, yeah, like the Brownie King and his army taking down Dark Hammond.
Okay, if you guys want to keep ending with the certain evil person and then following up with a good person,
Well,
It's
the
not an
thing
intended
about
formula,
good
but
Good Hammond versus Dark Hammond, or Light Hammond versus Dark Hammond, or whatever, does leave the end of that storyline with Dark Hammond getting taken down. He
it
actually
does,
loses
but it
that
doesn't have
battle.
to be in this chapter. So it could be that this chapter ends with Hammond blowing up this war with the brownies to an extent where them killing him is the only answer.
okay, so this
then
is
you
set
need a
up for the
Michael Bay
later
ending
payoff.
on this shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
To where like he's jumping out a window
Like he
and there's
accidentally
a flood
kills
of
the
brownies
prince and
coming
now the
after
king's
him.
after him or something.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm seeing the cinematic. It's quite funny.
Right? Yeah, he's like
You what?
Cinematic. You know.
Yeah, I
Wait,
know what
The
that means.
the Matrix
I
freeze
didn't catch
frame,
what,
pan,
what you said.
glass everywhere.
where he's like jumping out of a window and there's a flood of brownies chasing after him. Scene. You know?
Really?
Yeah, and then next time this picks up, you know,
we
he's-
finally got you, Hammond.
right. They've got him cornered, and there's Dark and Dark Hammond gets involved.
Who the hell are you?
What the hell?
Okay, so
What the
so
hell?
the fight, because truly all we have so far that is between Hammond and the brownies is that he captured that one,
Right.
right, and then it got loose.
Yes.
So they're ticked, but they're not like kill this man ticked. So this is really our opportunity to blow that up into a this means war.
Right.
Could
I
be a
really
funny
don't wanna
running
have to
gag.
write that. I mean, if they're gonna kill Dark Hammond after this, I don't know how long the gag's gonna run.
Kill, torture, whatever.
I don't know. Maybe
I'd
they
say
become
both.
friends after
Banish,
that.
unweave.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. There's a bunch of things. There's so many options, right? I mean, so many.
And yet most of them tend to be fire.
Feed him to some kind of extra dimensional being. Be
Okay.
first.
Well, that one's not my chapter, so I'm not worried about that.
Although you probably
truly
could kill a
just what-
lot of brownies
Like,
with
is
a
it?
flamethrower.
We're saying he's pissed off brownie royalty, right?
Right.
That's the idea.
Sure. But you're saying that the dark doppelganger in this chapter is
It's got to end with evil Wilhelm if you want to continue the pattern,
Okay.
and then picks up with good Wilhelm fighting gnomes,
okay. Okay.
and then he ends with running into evil Zara,
Okay.
and then it's going to be on you to pick up good Zara. And
Who is
Okay.
already with
evil
Meredith.
Mary.
All right, I can see. I'm
so
seeing
that,
the pattern.
that is
this
already
was confusing
established.
for a bit.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Do you guys like that? Wow.
Were you doing your what's his name?
Wow.
Wilson. Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Wow. My kid loves it when I do that. Wow.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
'Cause it's funny. Have you ever seen the GIF
Yes.
where the guy's lifting the weights and it's two Owen Wilson heads, both going wow every time he lifts it? And that would make me feel good. Like if I was at the gym lifting weights, but they were heads that were going.
And it was
wow.
really Owen Wilson
Yeah.
telling you wow. I guess.
Wouldn't
It
that
would,
make you
get,
feel
it would
good?
get old.
I think so. wouldn't you?
I don't know.
couldn't finish the lightsaber episode.
Wow. Wow.
I don't know what to. That dude just reminds me of Wedding Crashers.
I don't know. It was fun. Whatevs. All right, do we have our missions?
I guess so.
Are you sure?
Thank you for
Well,
once again the
as-
4 minutes of plotting.
As we've run into plenty of times before, though, when you introduce the story, some things may well have changed, which is going to impact the next person
Are you
writing
trying
their
to
story.
excuse not writing what we talked about?
I'm saying is we're not all
He's
showing
not
up with 3
you
stories. Right, and whatever you do may well change Tyr's next thing, and what she does may change mine.
Maybe.
So these are outlines at best. You're the one with notes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Actually, Tyr's got the notes. And
I
I'm
have
just
the
gonna
notes.
copy
I've got to
like I did in high school.
I've got to send them to both of you though, because we did say that we really have to stick to what we're writing here
Yeah.
Yeah.
because this, if plot holes are going to appear, this is where it's going to
And
be.
you're going to be graded.
Yes, I will grade you guys. I will
Yes.
send your work back with red
God,
pen
my spelling
marked all over them.
sucks. Damn it. All right. All right. Well, we'll return next week with my part of the
A little
story
bit of chapter 12.
with Cheeto dust on the paper, but it'll
Okay.
happen.
Mhm.
All right. So go visit us at Twitter. In fact, you can follow me, and I'll follow you back at the Dark Stormy K1.
And on the website at thedarkandstormynights.home.blog.
Go visit us at Podbean at thedarkandstormynights.podbean.com. And do we have anything else?
Yep, I think that's it.
Just find us.
Yep.
See you next time.